Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Lax Axel here today for a for a ranking of the Star Wars movies. And just to note, this is going to be kind of like an improvised video. I don't have a script with me. I think it's better to improvise this because my thoughts get across, like my hot takes on all these movies. It's better to have like my candid thoughts on these because it's better to express what I'm feeling now instead of writing directly, oh, this is how I feel on a script. So yeah. So to get started, we have, you probably already know what number one is going to be. If you're aware of the niche Star Wars movies, only three niche Star Wars movies. Coming in at number 15 is the Star Wars Holiday Special. You probably already seen this coming, but I didn't know about this movie until like JonTron reviewed it. And that's probably like how a lot of people started watching it, because I had no idea this was a thing. Just for curiosity's sake, I watched the full movie after watching JonTron's review. And man, it's like really bad. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. If you can call it a movie. I mean, it is a TV movie, but it's kind of just like a special. But it is so bad it's good. But there are some really boring parts. The scene where what's his name? Luffy, is working on this device, and it goes on for so long, egregiously 5 minutes of that. And his TV malfunctions. I don't even remember the full details of the scene, but there's a lot of boring parts like that. And is the movie so bad you can watch it as entertainment, so bad it's good? Yes, it's pretty entertaining, It is boring. It's pretty hard to sit through. But it's not that boring, to be honest. I'm selling it as kind of torturous to watch it, but overall it's pretty funny. But definitely as a movie, as a feature-length movie, it fails in every way. So obviously, I mean, if you know, and if you've seen the movie, and if you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I would give the Star Wars Holiday Special a 1 out of 10. Coming in at number 14 is the Ewok Adventure, aka Caravan of Courage. So, I didn't expect this movie to be that bad, but it was that bad. This is definitely another niche Star Wars movie. It was made for TV, and I had no idea it existed until I read it up on Wikipedia. After watching it, there's a reason why nobody remembers it. I don't really like to rag on child actors, but for me, the actress playing the little girl is really bad in this movie. And I know she was trying, but yeah, it's pretty bad. Along with her older brother, he's a little bit better, but overall, it's he's not very good at all. The story is kind of nonsensical. They got the narrator for, I think it was Frosty the Snowman, it's kind of nice to hear his voice in this. But basically, he explains certain scenes. He gives context to what's happening, what the Ewoks are doing. And what he says, his explanations of some scenes make no sense. He's trying, the filmmakers are trying to explain to us what's happening, but it's just nonsensical. Here, I'll show you a clip of what I mean.
The crystal belongs to Kank, the Ewok priestess. But before she will join the caravan, they must pass a magic test.
But overall, I don't even remember the story. I do think the practical effects are very good. Except there's a scene with spiders that looked incredibly fake to me. I think because this movie was obviously, it's a TV movie, it's on a low budget. But these spiders, you could tell, oh, these are puppets. But overall, it's pretty terrible. It's I would say it's more boring than the Star Wars Holiday Special, because there's not a lot of so bad it's good elements here, but it's more competent as a movie. But overall, it's pretty bad. There's a reason this is, rated low on IMDb and such. I would give this a 3 out of 10, but coming in at number 13 is the second Ewoks movie, which is Ewoks: The Battle for Endor. Now, why do I think this movie is better than the first? Well, there's a couple elements that are pretty okay. For one thing, Wilfred Brimley is in this movie, the diabetes guy.
I hope you choose to get involved with a good doctor. Find out some things about diabetes and your own body in the bargain.
This is the only movie I've seen him in, actually. But he's pretty good. Honestly, his scenes with the girl is they're fine. They're like, back in the day, if I was a kid watching this, I would probably, he gives like a warm presence to the movie. But this movie is actually kind of dark. Going into spoiler territory, the girl's entire family dies. And sorry if I spoiled that. I mean, you probably don't care about spoilers from the second Ewok movie. That was pretty dark. I don't know why the family didn't want to be in this movie. Probably because it was pretty bad. But the girl, I forgot her name. Sorry. She's much better in this movie than the first movie. But she's still not a good actress. But overall, the story is more engaging. There's more action. But I was pretty bored watching it, just like the first Ewok movie. I know I'm using that word a lot, sorry. There's actually like witches in this movie, which kind of caught me off guard, but I mean, it's an Ewoks movie, what I expect. But overall, 3 out of 10 again, just like the first Ewoks movie, but slightly better. You're gonna get more out of this. But for me, personally, I was, it's one of those movies. I don't do this for many movies, but I like, while I was watching it, I was checking how much was left in the movie. That's how like unengaged I was in this movie overall. Yeah, but 3 out of 10. So coming in at number 12 is Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the movie. Now, when I first watched this as a kid, I really hated it. Mostly because of the art style. I was like, why does the art style look like that? I couldn't get over the art style. I don't think I watched I think I like stopped midway through this movie because I was so like turned off by the art style. And like, the voices were different. Obviously the story was kind of weird. Rewatching this movie, it's not, well, obviously rewatching the Star Wars: The Clone Wars show, watching all the episodes of that, I've come to appreciate, the art style. The Clone Wars is my favorite Star Wars show, but the movie is still not good, mainly because of the plot. I mean, the animation, they basically stitched together Clone Wars episodes for this movie, and this was theatrically released, which was not a good idea. This is obviously supposed to be made for TV, so the animation is super stiff because this is from the Clone Wars season 1. Doesn't look very high budget, and the story is not very good. I mean, you get introductions to Ahsoka and the clones, which is all fine, but the story is kind of laughable. It's like, oh, we gotta save Jabba the Hutt's son, and it's not a story for a movie. Obviously, it's for a TV show, which it was episodes stitched together. Like, come on, George Lucas, you really couldn't find other Clone Wars episodes that would be better for an introduction to this show for a movie. And there are Clone Wars episodes in the first season, which would be better for a movie. But yeah, definitely a TV pilot. very unengaging. Jabba the Hutt's son is pretty annoying here, and Zero the Hutt is an annoying villain. And yeah, I don't have that much to say about it. I think the opening battle is okay. On my second rewatch, it was fine. But after they get to, I think his name is Lumpy. After they find Lumpy, I'm tuned out. It's like, oh my god, here we go. Definitely not a good introduction to the Clone Wars, at least for me as a kid. But I warmed up to it. The movie's not as horrible as I thought it was. But overall, it's not a good movie. But it's definitely not the worst thing in the world. So 4 out of 10 for the Clone Wars movie. Okay, moving on to number 11, we have The Phantom Menace. Now, this was originally my favorite prequel of the Star Wars trilogy of prequels, but rewatching it, this one has the weakest elements I found. Because, well, we have the elephant in the room, we have Jar Jar, we have, characters like Boss Nass, but those are kind of obvious. What really, ruins the movie is, the uninteresting plot, for one. Anakin being very young, I don't think that services the story very well. Obi-Wan surprisingly doesn't get a lot to do in this movie. Ian McGregor, he's great as Obi-Wan. I think a lot of people have said, oh, he's the best part of the prequels, which I agree, even though I dislike all the prequels. Which I know, the popular opinion now is to like the prequel, but me personally, I just don't like them. But yeah, Obi-Wan does not get a lot to do, and it is a Qui-Gon Jinn focused movie, and Qui-Gon Jinn, I don't think he's an interesting protagonist, to be honest, but a lot of people do think that. People probably say he's interesting in a comic book or something, but we're watching a movie here, and he has to be interesting in the movie, and he's not. But I do like Liam Neeson. A lot of the criticisms have already been said, midichlorians, obviously. But I think what weighs the movie down is the robotic acting from the main cast. It's either, I don't think it's the actor's fault, really. Definitely George Lucas's direction, because these are good actors, but all of them, they talk in this robotic way, if that makes sense. No emotion to their lines, which really weighs all the prequels down for me. But this one especially, the only character with high energy is Jar Jar, unfortunately. Darth Maul has 3 lines in this movie, and which is a shame, but they did bring back Maul in the Clone Wars. They revived him, which I wasn't a fan of, reviving old characters, but in general, I'm not a fan of that. But since he had no development in this movie, bringing him back makes sense, to flesh out his character. But yeah, the only thing I like in this movie is probably the pod race scene. Aside from that, I nothing, nothing pops out in my mind as oh, that's cool. But pod race scene, definitely great. And I would have to give The Phantom Menace a 4 out of 10. Pretty much it, yeah. And then number 10 is Attack of the Clones. But again, a lot of people have said why. A lot of people think this is worse than Phantom Menace, but there are some elements, there are some scenes I like in this movie. For example, the whole arena scene with Count Dooku, that's pretty fun. There's some good action here and there, and Jango Fett, the whole Jango Fett scenes and his storyline with Obi-Wan are interesting. As I said, a lot of people have said why this is such a bad movie. Anakin and Padme romance. Oh my god. So cringe. And that subplot takes up basically half of the movie. And it's done so horribly. I think a lot of people like Hayden Christensen now. I can't stand him. Well, it's not that I can't stand him. He's not the worst actor ever, but I don't like his acting, and I think even if he had a good director telling him, oh, you should say this, you should say that, he would still not be a good actor. I mean, I'm probably just basing this on like a gut feeling, but I haven't seen his other movies, but like his acting in particular stands out from the rest of the cast as, pretty bad, at least in my opinion. Yeah, I think I got the good elements, but the rest of the movie, the subplot with Obi-Wan, where like he's trying to find out how the clones were made, like Sifo Dyas or whatever. Like, it's interesting, but there's a lot of like scenes in that plot line that are like, they could have been better, could have been way more interesting. I don't know. I think it's the dialogue he has to work with. It makes it less interesting. The plot line itself, it's like okay-ish, but there's like scenes with Obi-Wan that are just so like painful and like boring. I think like there's more moments in this movie that are like more enjoyable, if that makes sense. Like more like, yeah, there's more good moments in this movie than Phantom Menace. But overall, it's still not a good movie. So I'd have to give this a 4 out of 10. And moving on is Revenge of the Sith, the best prequel, but I still don't think it's a good movie. Yeah, this movie is definitely a mixed bag. The whole like Anakin transforming into Darth Vader, it's kind of rushed. Obviously Hayden Christensen, I really think he's like, well, he's not as bad here than in Attack of the Clones, but he's still like pretty bad. There's some good elements sprinkled in this movie. The people say, oh, like the lightsaber fight goes on too long, and it does. I wish it was shorter. Overall, it's like it's fine. It's not good, it's not great, it's okay. I think Palpatine is really great in this movie. I mean, obviously Ian McDiarmid, he chews the scenery in every Star Wars movie he's in. Even the Phantom Menace, pretty good in that movie. Order 66, that was an okay moment. Yeah, I wish it had a better impact on the series as a whole, because we don't really care about the Jedi who are dying. I mean, it's like a sad scene. But yeah, I wish we would care. I wish we would know more about those Jedi. The war on Kashyyyk, that's a good moment. But overall, same criticisms that plague the prequels. Robotic acting, like a messy storyline, bad dialogue. I'm sorry, George Lucas. I really like George Lucas as a director, but he did not do well with the prequels. But overall, it's like, it's definitely middle of the road. I don't like it. It has more going on than the 2 other prequels, but overall I still don't think it's a good movie. I do think it is marginally better than Attack of the Clones, so I would give it a 5 out of 10. Hey guys, thanks for watching part 1 of 2, or maybe part 3. I don't know how long this ranking will be, but I decided to split this Star Wars ranking into parts because this video has gone on way too long. Thanks for watching if you've gotten to the end. I do want to rank the Star Wars TV shows as well, but I haven't seen Obi-Wan and the Book of Boba Fett, so I'll have to watch those and then I can rank them. And a couple of announcements for this channel. I am planning on having a podcast called The John Cast. It's going to be really fun. I'm going to have some guests, and it'll be on Spotify and SoundCloud as well, once it's released. I'm not saying go find it on Spotify now. It's in the works, it's in production. So yeah, this concludes part 1. Sorry if the ending was a bit anticlimactic, but I have a lot of thoughts on the Star Wars movie. And I didn't expect to talk about these movies at this long a length. But anyways, take care and see you later.